In this video, we're going to talk about how you build trust online. There was a study that Google did that gives us hard numbers on what it actually takes. So let's jump in. Google came out with the 7-11-4 study. And basically what this means is that in order for someone to trust you enough, in order to get a transaction online, because Google can track so much of what people do on the internet, they found that on average, it took 7 hours of content or relationship or 7 hours of spending time with someone or a brand or a business in order to transact. 11 touch points. A touch point could look like a YouTube video, an Instagram post, an SMS message, an email, and you could have multiple touch points in multiple YouTube videos. And then you have finally 4 channels. And so a channel is a different platform. You have YouTube, you have Instagram, you have email, you have text, you have an in-person event. So basically what Google is saying is that if you want to have someone from the other side of a video, similar to this, work with you, pay you money for a product or service, what you have to do is you have to hit these numbers. And in order to do this, it takes a lot of content and it takes a lot of intentionality about how you create the buyer's journey and the customer journey so that someone will trust you enough to do business with you. So one of the things that I'm doing is I'm building 100K Sports Coach is I'm laser focused on getting to this number as fast as I can, because a lot of people might have spent a lot of time with me over the past 2 years as I've made all these short form videos on Catching Made Simple, right? If you spend a minute a day, every single day for 2 years, that's a lot of time in total. But if you can go with long form videos, right? Say this is about a 10-minute video or so, then you don't need as many of those in order to get to those 7 hours. And so it could take 2 years of 60-second videos, or it could take 2 days of watching long form video in order for someone to feel like they trust you enough to do business with you. And so as we go through this, my goal is to get to this as many times as I can. We're definitely gonna make more than 11 YouTube videos. And then in terms of channel, my strategy is I want YouTube, I want Instagram, and then I want email. What about the other platforms? Now here's the question of like, okay, if you are gonna make a video, should you post it on the other platforms as well? Generally speaking, I would say yes, especially if you have the content system designed to be able to do that. But one of the things that I've noticed with my business, at least with Catching Made Simple, is out of all the platforms that I have, and right, I think roughly speaking, my follower count right now is on TikTok, it's around 120, might be a little above that. Instagram, I think it's like 84. YouTube, it's like 65. Facebook, it's like 60. And then I think Snapchat, it's like 13 or 14 or something like that. And so when you look at my follower count across platforms for Catching Made Simple, you would think that TikTok drives the most business because it has the most followers, but it actually doesn't, because when I ask people how they found out about me when they sign up for my coaching or when they sign up for, one of my lead magnets, like the 7-day stance challenge, what they say is they say typically Instagram or YouTube. The majority of my coaching revenue comes from these 2 platforms, which makes sense because when you look at it, a lot of the parents are gonna be on Instagram because that was the platform that they grew up with. And so when you think about like who's actually buying the coaching, it's on Instagram. And the other place that makes a lot of sense is YouTube, because if someone is going into YouTube and they search catcher drills or how to get into a catching stance, they're gonna see my videos. And when they see my videos, then they get plugged into my lead magnet system. I'm able to help them and add value, just like I'm trying to do with you right now. And then they end up buying. So all that being said, the question that we were just talking about is what is the right play here in terms of channel? This says 4 channel. The channels that I named were YouTube, Instagram, and email. So should we also post on TikTok, on Twitter, on Snapchat, on Facebook? I think that we will, because people spend time on different platforms. But I do think that if we dominate 3 and we go really deep, and especially looking at the data of like where people have paid me money from before is from Instagram and YouTube, then I think it makes sense to focus really hard on this. And then obviously I have my email as well. So ultimately there's gonna be 3 main channels that we're gonna focus on. We will still probably distribute to the other ones because we have the infrastructure already in place. But if I didn't have that, I would probably focus first on YouTube and Instagram. Like if I was a coach that I was starting out and I didn't have a team around me, I was just doing it, I would probably start on those two, because that is, at least what I've seen, where people are the most serious about getting help and getting coaching from. So one more thing that's worth mentioning here as we think about the different channels is the idea of the ones. So let me explain. When building a business, this is what a lot of people say: in order for you to start your business, you want to start with one person and you get really specific on who that one person is. The next thing that you want to do is you want to focus on one problem. Okay, so one person who has one problem, and you have one process that you sell them through. So one process specifically around the sales conversion. And then you have one path, and the path is about like your process to actually help them. So process and path, you could technically switch them if you really wanted to. But the idea is that this is the one person that you help, the one problem that you solve. There's one way that you actually convert that person with the problem into a paying customer. And then you have one path or one process that ideally is productized, where you do the same thing over and over. You don't have to recreate a new program every time. That then you can just continue to solve more people's problems here without having to change this. So hopefully this helps you if you are starting, and if you can get really, really focused, that will help you. And if you are a sports coach, you should get my book, because I actually walk through the exact process that I would use to tailor this to a sports coaching business that is online. So you can get that at 100ksportscoach.com/book, or I think that there should be a link in the description. But all that being said, if we come back over to this, what you want to focus on when you are online is how quickly can you get to this 7 hours of content where they can trust you enough that they'll take the risk to do business with you. And then once they do business with you, you have to do a great job. And if you do a great job, then you can get testimonials, and then you can go and use that testimonial as more content to get more clients, which get results, which creates more content, and you create the flywheel that can really, really grow an online sports coaching business. Thanks for tuning in to this little mini workshop on how to generate trust online using Google's 7-11-4 rule. My name's Anj Bourgeois. Let's win together.